All right, let's get right into it. Something's going on inside one of the most powerful institutions on the planet, the Department of Justice. And what looks on the surface like just another bureaucratic screw-up is, according to the material we're looking at today, something much, much more calculated. Yeah, this is not about somebody forgetting to file some paperwork. What we're going to break down here is a deliberate strategy, a high-stakes game of power, fear, and sheer institutional survival. And trust me, once you see the playbook, you really can't unsee it. So let's start with the central mystery here. It all kicks off with a piece of legislation, the Epstein Transparency Act. This wasn't a suggestion, it was a law that gave the Department of Justice a crystal clear, legally binding order about Jeffrey Epstein's files. And look at how clear-cut this failure was. December 19th, that was the hard deadline. They were legally required to produce everything. They blew right past it. Okay, so then 15 days later, the law said they had to submit a report explaining the delay, and guess what? They missed that deadline too, just radio silence. So what did they eventually hand over? About 1% of the documents. Just 1%. I mean, come on, that's not a we tried our best but fell short kind of situation. That level of non-compliance is so extreme, it stops looking like an accident and it starts looking like a message. And this, right here, is the question that's going to drive our whole analysis. You know, making a mistake is one thing, but this kind of blatant disregard for a legal mandate, it forces you to ask, what in the world could be in those files that makes breaking the law look like the better, safer choice? And that's where we pivot from the what happened to the why it happened. The central idea here is that the delay, it isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature. It's a tool of power. And as our source material points out, it's a tactic that has been absolutely mastered by figures like Donald Trump over his entire career. So what we're talking about actually has a name. It's called institutional delay. It's what happens when a powerful organization feels threatened. It doesn't rush to defend itself. No, it does the opposite. It slows everything down. It uses its own red tape as a weapon to control the story and just completely wear out anyone who's asking questions. And you can see right here why it's so effective. It just exhausts the opposition until they give up. It confuses everybody watching. It creates this fog of ambiguity where nobody knows what's true anymore. And eventually, public attention just drifts to the next shiny object. It's a classic Donald Trump move. When faced with a threat on paper, you don't fight it head on. You delay, you distract, you create chaos until everyone forgets what the original fight was even about. But this is the interesting part. This is where the strategy started to blow up in their face. Because when the Department of Justice finally gave an excuse, it was so flimsy, so weak, that it actually revealed how scared they were. And it kicked off this escalation loop they clearly were not ready for. I mean, just look at the contrast. On the left, you've got the official excuse. Oh, you know, it was the holidays, people were on vacation, there are just so many documents. But then you look at the reality on the right. This is the DOJ. They have hundreds of top lawyers, the best technology money can buy, basically unlimited resources. The idea that they couldn't handle this is, well, it's just not believable. It's a performance. It's an excuse that's only designed to be an excuse, not a real reason. And that performance was so bad, it actually triggered something you almost never see in Washington anymore, a truly bipartisan response. You had Ro Khanna, a progressive Democrat, and Thomas Massie, a libertarian Republican, join forces to demand a special master to take over. So why is a special master such a terrifying prospect for them? It's simple. It means they lose control. A special master works for the court, not for the political appointees in the executive branch. They don't care about protecting a narrative. They care about one thing, the process. This move literally snatches the weapon of delay right out of the DOJ's hand. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second, because this is about way more than just one case now. This is about the deep, systemic rot that sets in when the very institution that's supposed to uphold the law looks like it's bending over backward to protect the powerful from that same law. And the source material really lays out this grim path to decay. It starts when an institution sees a threat to its very existence. In this case, total transparency on the Epstein files. So it stops acting like an impartial referee and starts acting purely defensively. Suddenly, delay and silence aren't accidents anymore. They are the unwritten policy. And the last step, well, it's the total collapse of public trust. And this leads us to the most chilling conclusion of all. The actions of the Department of Justice suggest that they have run the numbers. They've made a cold calculation that actually complying with the law, releasing all these files, would be more damaging to them, and maybe to the powerful people they're protecting, than just openly defying the law. Think about that. Resistance has become the safe play. But that calculation has backed them into a corner, into what the source calls a no-exit corridor. They're trapped. Every move they make from here on out has a catastrophic cost. If they keep delaying, they destroy what's left of their credibility. But if they comply, they could set off a bomb that takes down the very networks they seem to be trying to protect.
At the end of the day, what we might be witnessing is a profound transformation. When an institution's number one job becomes protecting itself instead of the law, it's no longer really governing. It's just occupying territory, holding on to power for its own sake.
So that leaves us with this final, lingering thought. The fight here isn't really about if these documents will ever see the light of day. Secrets this big rarely stay buried forever. The real, terrifying question is, what happens when they do? What collapses? Public trust? Careers? Entire institutions? How much of the whole system comes down with it?